And this is a time for Money Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Good day, viewers, and welcome to a fresh episode of ATN Business on Atlantic Television Network right here in the city of Port Harcourt. This is the network's medium of bringing happenings in the economic sector of the society to our discerning viewers. This program is aimed at bringing to the doorstep of viewers the business, financial and economic activities from all strata of society. Its delivery is accentuated through the various stock exchanges across the world, news about government economic activities, private sector business activities, laced with experts' opinions, stakeholders' analysis, and correspondent reports. Headlines. Federal government inaugurates committee. Guinea gas pipeline, Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea sign agreement on Gulf. French criticizes 3 Nigerian presidential jets. Alarm over EV fires, spotlight on safety concerns. By the end of the show, you can be rest assured of being informed accurately on financial activities around the world. I am your host, Wendy Aguma. We'll take a short pause. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now let's go into market reports, local and international business news for today. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has officially inaugurated a technical subcommittee tasked with developing the framework for the sale of crude oil to local refineries in Naira. This initiative aligns with the recent presidential directive aimed at enhancing Nigeria's refining capacity and promoting economic growth. Crude oil supply to domestic refineries has been an issue for months, particularly since the multi-billion-dollar Dangote Petroleum refinery came on board. Domestic crude oil refiners, including the $21 billion Dangote refinery, have repeatedly complained about the poor supply of crude to their plants. They have also called for the sale of crude in the Naira due to the difficulty in accessing the United States dollar and fluctuation of the local currency against the dollar. However, in a post on the Finance Ministry's official X handle, the ministry stated on Wednesday that the technical subcommittee had been inaugurated to help tackle these concerns. It said the inauguration took place following a stakeholders meeting where government officials and representatives of local refineries, including the Dangote refinery, gathered to discuss the implementation details of this strategic directive. The committee members include the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, Mrs. Lydia Jafia, Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Dr. Zach Adedeji, as well as representatives from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, Central Bank of Nigeria, Afrexim Bank, and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. In his remarks, the Finance Minister highlighted the critical role of the committee in crafting robust templates that would ensure the successful implementation of the initiative. Edun commended the members of the committee for their dedication and anticipated contributions, urging them to work diligently to meet expectations set by the presidential directive. He further said the ultimate goal is to transform Nigeria's energy sector into one that is self-reliant and globally competitive. Depot and Petroleum Product Marketers Association of Nigeria has strongly denied the accusation that it is hindering the operations of local refineries to maintain the importation of petroleum products. The Executive Secretary Olufemi Adewale made this clarification, adding that the association's members are patriotic investors who have committed substantial resources to building infrastructure and facilities across all sectors of the downstream value chain, adding that their primary goal was to ensure the seamless supply and distribution of petroleum products throughout Nigeria. It is absurd to suggest that depot owners are intentionally obstructing local refineries or trying to change the country, which basic business sense dictates that any entrepreneur would prefer to work with a supplier who offers products at competitive rates with minimal challenges in accessing those products. Adewale said the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria and its members were enthusiastic about the commencement of operations at the Dangote refinery and stressed that depot owners who have been unfairly labeled as being against local refineries and have already started patronizing the Dangote refinery despite the operational charges encountered. Reacting to claims from some oil industry players that depot owners contribute little value to the fuel distribution chain, the Executive Secretary defended the essential role depot owners play in the sector, adding that the final consumer cannot purchase fuel directly from refineries. Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited has disclosed that another 63 illegal refineries were discovered and confiscated in the past week. It was revealed in a documentary that the fight against oil theft was yielding results. According to the NNPC, about 177 incidents were recorded between August 3rd and 9th by different incident sources like Tantita Security Service, 4 Shell Petroleum Development Company, 11 Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited, 26 Maton Engineering Company, 20 NNPC, 18 Operating Limited, 1 NNPC Command and Control Center, 51 and Government Security Agencies, 64. It noted that during the week under review, 19 illegal pipeline connections were recovered, while some underwent repairs across several locations in Bayelsa and Rivers states. The NNPC stated that 63 illegal refineries were discovered and confiscated in Bayelsa, Rivers, Abia, Imo, and Delta states. He added that a vandalized barricade oil wellhead was discovered in Bayelsa state. It was learned that stolen crude was discovered in oil reservoirs in Rivers state. According to the state-owned firm, 17 vehicular arrests were made in communities in Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, and Akwa Ibom states. It mentioned that 15 wooden boats conveying stolen crude were confiscated in Rivers and Bayelsa states. The energy company disclosed that 51 of those incidents took place in the deep blue water, 21 in the western region, 29 in the central region, and 76 in the eastern region. President Bola Tinubu and his Equatorial Guinea counterpart, Teodoro Mbasogo in Malabo signed an agreement on the Gulf of Guinea pipeline project, further affirming the partnership of mutual development. A statement signed by Tinubu's spokesman, Ajiru Ngalale, said the agreement covered legislative and regulatory measures for the gas pipeline, establishment and operation, transit of natural gas, ownership of the gas pipeline, and general principles. While in his remarks at the event, Tinubu, who is on a 3-day official visit to Equatorial Guinea, said the signing of the agreement will open up new opportunities for gas exploration and employment, adding that the two leaders had discussed issues related to the creation of employment, food security, multilateral relations, and conflict resolution mechanisms on the continent during a private meeting that preceded the signing of the agreement. The statement said, in the same way that Europe and America have kept themselves and found a solution for their conflicts and have to look at both inadequate capital, industrialization efforts, research and development programs, and also enlighten the people, navigate the way through problems instead of crisis and conflict that exist in the Republic of Congo and others. Tinubu also said the discussion with President Mbasogo also covered challenges of security, the African Continental Free Trade Area, and food security. While in his remark, the President of Equatorial Guinea said bilateral relations with Nigeria over many years have been rewarding, and emphasized the need to deepen cooperation across salient areas, adding that Africa's vision of having a permanent seat in the Security Council of the United Nations is vital for the development of the continent, affirming that Equatorial Guinea would work with Nigeria to realize the objective. Equatorial Guinea leader said the signing of the agreement was strategic for Africa's development. Chairman of the Society of Petroleum Engineers in Nigeria, Salahuddin Tahir, stated that European banks were no longer interested in financing investments in fossil fuels in Africa. He spoke in Lagos at the just concluded 47th Nigeria Annual International Conference and Exhibition 2024 with the theme Petroleum Industry Value Chain, the Inevitability of Midstream and Downstream Development. According to Tahir, that prompted the establishment of the African Energy Bank. The headquarters would be located in Nigeria. He noted that the creation of the Energy Bank was a response to European financial institutions becoming reluctant to support oil and gas and talking more about green energy, the environment, governance, and social. On claims that fossil fuel would go into extinction due to energy transition and the call for renewable energies, Tahir disagreed, saying oil and gas would remain the major fuel for a long time. On the divestment of international oil companies in Nigeria, he allayed fear of job losses. He disclosed that the indigenous people taking over this asset. The International Energy Agency predicted that oil demand will continue to shrink as renewables take center stage. Nigeria Customs Service has been directed to start the implementation of the 0% import duty and exemption of value-added tax on basic food items. This was after President Bola Tinubu approved the implementation of 0% import duty and exemption of value-added tax on basic food items. The Ministry of Finance confirmed the approval in a letter to Nigeria Customs Service dated August 8, 2024. The Nigerian Customs Service also confirmed the development in a document shared with one of our correspondents on Wednesday. Responding, the Controller General of NCS, Bashir Adeniyi, instructed officials of the service to commence enforcement measures in the circular titled Approval for the Implementation of 0% Duty Rate on Basic Food Items. The NCS said the Ministry of Finance sent a letter to the service informing the agency that Tinubu has approved the implementation. The letter dated August 14, 2024 and signed by the Deputy Controller General C.K. Nyagwan noted that the food commodities include maize, hawks brown rice, wheat, grain beans, and millet. She stated that the policy is restricted to the items listed and is effective from July 15 to December 31, 2024. The Deputy Director further stated that the Finance Ministry would provide a list of importers and approved quotas during the implementation period and called for wide coverage to ensure strict compliance. Nigeria Customs Service Oyo-Osun Area Command said it intercepted 2,290 pieces of used tires along Saki axis in Oyo State. The Customs Area Controller in charge of the command, Dr. Ben Oramalugo, disclosed these in a statement on Wednesday. He said that the command intercepted the contrabands which were concealed in DAF trucks during an operation on Monday. Oramalugo explained that the used tires were discovered during a routine stop and search operation conducted by the command. Oramalugo pointed out that importation and smuggling of used tires into the country is illegal, adding that it has posed a significant risk to public safety due to its worn-out nature. The Oyo-Osun Customs Boss further emphasized that the seizure highlighted the importance of the command's continuous surveillance and intelligence gathering efforts. He mentioned that the successful interception of the items was a testament to the vigilance and dedication of officers of the command who worked tirelessly to prevent the smuggling of substandard and prohibited goods into Nigeria. He vowed that the command was committed to ensuring that only legitimate goods were allowed entry into our country and would continue to strengthen its operations to combat smuggling activities across all fronts. He wants smugglers, as well as those involved in the illegal trade of prohibited items, that the command would not relent in its efforts to bring offenders to justice and safeguard the nation's border. The CSC reiterated the command's commitment to protect the public from the dangers of substandard smuggled goods, stressing that it would continue to work closely with other security agencies and stakeholders to ensure effective enforcement of customs regulations. Borno State Governor Babangida Zulum has said that the Jori inland dry ports located in Maiduguri, Borno State, would be ready by December. Zulum disclosed this on Wednesday when he paid a courtesy visit to the Nigerian Shippers Council headquarters in Apapa, Lagos. He added that by establishing inland dry ports, the state would tackle the issue of unemployment among the youth. According to Zulum, the platform would also enhance cross-border trade. Speaking of rail connectivity to the IDP, Zulum added that the federal government was working to ensure the rehabilitation of rail lines. Earlier, the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Pius Akuta, said the importance of Borno State as a border town to three countries cannot be overemphasized. He stated that having an inland dry port in the state would boost international trade between Nigeria and other countries under the African Continental Free Trade Area, in which Nigeria opened its border to the whole of Africa as one market. He said that the transit park area developed in the state had one of the critical infrastructures to service the IDP. The NSC boss stated that the essence of the initiative, which would be a public-private partnership, was not for the government to drive the day-to-day running, but for the private sector. He declared that the two entities should come together and fast-track the process of harmonizing and agreeing among themselves. According to the NSC, the country currently has 7 inland dry ports, though only 2 have been completed. Nigerian Ports Authority has disclosed that the movement of cargo by rail has improved from 9,000 moves recorded in 2023 to 10,000 in the first 6 months of this year. The port manager of Lagos Ports Complex of NPA, Charles Okaga, revealed this during a recent stakeholders roundtable organized by the Maritime Reporters Association of Nigeria in Apapa, Lagos. According to Okaga, NPA's shipping documentation is now done online, reducing document processing time from about 2 weeks to less than 2 hours. He commended the Nigerian Customs Service efforts in ensuring that export cargoes gain easy access to the port, adding that customs resident commands in the ports have been instructed to refrain from interfering with exports once the cargo was declared and released. According to Okaga, stakeholders have received support to ensure that port access roads are cleared. The port manager added that though the port operated 24 hours, they were still having issues with infrastructure around the port, particularly the roads, which were in poor condition. Reacting to the development, the Tinkan Island chapter of the National Council of Managing Directors of Licensed Customs Agent Mr. Abayomi Duyele said the increase showed that imported cargoes going to the northern part of the country have increased. He stressed the need for the proper development of rail movement of cargoes, adding that it would lead to easy and faster cargo delivery to the owner's warehouse. According to Duyele, cargo movement of cargoes would also lead to a reduction in the cost of doing business. Nigeria Customs Service Apapa Area Command says it intercepted a total of 12 containers of expired and controlled pharmaceutical products worth 1.8 billion naira. A statement said the Controller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, disclosed this while displaying some of the seized contraband at the command in Apapa, Lagos, adding that if the drugs were allowed to exit the port, it would undermine the security of the nation by influencing the behavior of individuals involved in the criminal activities, often fueled by illicit drugs such as tramadol. He said aside from being expired, some of the seized drugs were imported without undergoing the necessary regulatory requirements, such as obtaining a National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control number, adding that some containers were also seized due to false declaration to evade duty payments, which amounts to smuggling. The CGC also said upon examination, the container was found to contain bodily health immune supplements that expired in July this year, and in addition to the expired pharmaceutical products, another 20-feet container was found to contain cartons of Royal Tramadol 225 mg concealed with expired cartons of really extra analgesic, antiseptic and anti-inflammatory tablets without a NAFDAC number. Adeniyi, however, commended the command for working with him on this anti-smuggling exploit, adding that the command handles the highest volume of trade for the NCS, collects the highest revenue, and is therefore saddled with a higher degree of expectation from the management of the service and the government, and urged port users to embrace only legitimate trade, stressing that the service under his leadership is fully committed to its responsibilities in detecting all forms of concealment. In a bid to simplify the non-tax payment process by residents and corporate entities in Lagos State, the State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, will formally inaugurate the innovative Lagos Revenue Portal on Thursday. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Taxation and Revenue, Mr. Opeyemi Ogumbo, announced it in a statement issued on Monday. According to Ogumbo, the innovative online platform is designed to simplify how Lagos residents and corporate entities perform their civic responsibilities in the form of non-tax payments, making the entire process more efficient, convenient, and secure. Meanwhile, he maintained that the advanced technology would streamline the state's collection processes into a more friendly and accessible self-service portal for everyone in Lagos. According to Ogumbo, the LRP aggregates all Lagos State bills and payments across ministries, departments, and agencies in the state, making it a one-stop shop for all taxpayers. He added that the portal allows Lagosians to manage and print their bills and make payments online through multiple available channels. According to the governor's site, the portal ensures secure and seamless payment processing, guaranteeing that transactions are both safe and efficient. Meanwhile, he added that with the portal, every payer receives an instant revenue receipt after successful payment, and also allows them to seamlessly validate their receipts to avoid paying to the wrong hands. Also, he noted that the LRP also allows for amendments and reversal requests, saying payers can request changes or reversal on their payments, which significantly reduces errors and disputes along the transaction value chain, payers, banks, and MDAs. According to Ogumbo, as the portal continues to evolve, it is expected to impact the state's revenue administration system. Nigeria's inflation fell to 33.40% in July 2024 from 34.19% in June on a year-on-year basis. This is the first time the country's inflation has cooled down since December 2022, when it stood at 21.34%. The National Bureau of Statistics disclosed this in its latest Consumer Price Index and inflation for July released on Thursday, which represents a 0.79% decline compared to the 34.19% recorded in June 2024. And the decline was aligned with the expectations of financial analysts, who projected that the country's inflation will cool off from July to August. CBN, however, CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso had earlier assured that the Monetary Policy Committee would do everything to tame inflation, while as part of the measures to ensure inflation is tamed, CBN through MPC has continued to raise interest rates. Additionally, the Nigerian government had recently introduced fiscal measures, including zero import duties on selected staple foods to tackle inflation, and this comes after the Defense Headquarters recently said that it had deployed its troops to farms, especially in the northeast and north central, to ensure a heat-free farming season in Nigeria. Members of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria have expressed concerns that some fiscal policies were hampering the efforts of reining in inflation in the country. This was contained in their statement at the July meeting, which was published on the website of the CBN on Tuesday. Some of the members of the MPC also stated that the current money supply of 4.05 trillion naira had increased credit facilities and put upward pressure on inflation. They maintained that it was hard to get the desired results if fiscal and structural policies were either not in place or were countering the tightening measures of the CBN. They added that further tightening of monetary policy was essential to curtail credit growth. One of the members, Aloysius Odu, submitted that the balancing act facing the MPC was difficult in the best of times and far much more difficult when other policies, structural and fiscal, were not entirely pulling their weight. According to Odu, these measures combined with a commitment to reduce the overall cost of governance would dampen fiscal pressures and bolster the effectiveness of monetary policy. He went on to vote for a hold in the policy rate. For Bala Bello to consolidate on the gains recorded so far, it is pertinent that monetary policy remains on course with a tight stance to curb monetary-induced inflation, while complementary fiscal measures are being explored to stem the hike in food prices. Another member of the MPC, Lydia Jafia, opined that the current inflationary trend was propelled by a mix of monetary and structural factors. To address the food inflation, which was over 40% in June, the federal government announced a 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities, particularly maize, husked brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas, an importation of 250,000 metric tons of wheat and 250,000 metric tons of maize in their semi-processed form for supply to small-scale processors and millers. Other measures include stakeholder engagement to set guaranteed minimum prices and facilitate storage of excess supply in the National Strategic Food Reserve. The governor of the CBN, Olayemi Cardoso, said that both monetary and fiscal policy must work actively to fully address inflationary pressures and lay the foundation for sustainable growth of the economy. Meanwhile, one of the MPC members, Aku Odukemelu, said, "I understand that the major driver of inflation is food inflation. I understand that the major driver of inflation is food inflation, which is largely driven by legacy issues such as inadequate power supply, poor road networks, and high insecurity in farming communities, as well as currency depreciation." The meeting voted to increase the benchmark rate by 50 basic points to 26.75% from 26.25%. Also, MPC adjusted the asymmetric corridor around the MPR to plus 500 /minus 100 from plus 100 /minus 300 basic points. Retain the cash reserve ratio of deposit money banks at 45% and merchant banks at 14% and the liquidity ratio at 30%. Federal government through the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency has offered a 15% discount on logistics to help small businesses cut their transportation expenses. It said this was part of efforts to improve business conditions, expand sales, and lower operational costs for small and medium enterprises in Nigeria. This initiative, in partnership with the Nigerian Postal Service, aims to enhance business conditions, boost sales, and reduce operational costs, and will commence on August 26th. The Director General of SME Smidan, Mr. Charles Odi, said this while signing a memorandum of understanding with the Postmaster General of NIPOST, Mrs. Tola Odeyemi, on Wednesday in Abuja. Odi described the collaboration as a direct response to feedback from SMEs regarding the high cost of logistics and its negative impact on sales. High transport costs severely impact MSMEs in Nigeria by escalating their operational expenses, which diminishes profitability and can limit their competitiveness in the market. He added the discount offer will commence on Monday, August 26th, and will be available to SMEs registered with Smidan in 2 ways: online pickups and walk-ins. According to him, the feedback received by the agency through its engagement with SMEs revealed that in some cases, the cost of delivery exceeds the cost of items, in discouraging sales and limiting commercial opportunities for SMEs in their immediate environment. The partnership will leverage NIPOST's national presence and infrastructure, as well as its ongoing reform and modernization efforts under the leadership of Tola Odeyemi, the Postmaster General and CEO of the agency. On her part, Odeyemi said the partnership was long overdue and will contribute to the achievement of inclusive economic growth, considering that MSMEs, which represent over 90% of businesses in the country and contribute half of the GDP, serve as the backbone of the economy. Through this partnership, both agencies will utilize their office and stations nationwide to initiate, process, and fast-track deliveries, ensuring that small businesses can move goods to remote parts of the country efficiently, timely, and affordably. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. And you can connect with us and watch us on ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. French court has authorized the seizure of 3 presidential jets linked to the federal government of Nigeria as part of a legal battle involving Zongshan, a Chinese company. The company had a business dispute with the Ogun State government, which led to this significant legal action. Sources familiar with the matter have told newsmen. The 3 seized jets included the Dassault Falcon 7X at Le Bourget Airport in Paris, a Boeing 737 and an Airbus 330 located at Basel-Mulhouse Airport in Switzerland. All 3 aircraft are part of Nigeria's presidential air fleet and are currently undergoing maintenance. 2 of the jets were recently put up for sale, while the Airbus 330 was purchased by Nigeria but had not been delivered. The Nigerian government reportedly paid over $100 million for the Airbus. The seizure stems from a 2016 decision by the Ogun State government to revoke Zongshan's export processing zone management contract. Following this revocation, an independent arbitral tribunal chaired by former UK Supreme Court President awarded Zongshan $74.5 million in compensation. However, the Ogun State government has yet to honor the award, leading Zongshan to seek enforcement against Nigerian assets abroad. Aviation workers across Nigeria are set to stage a nationwide protest on August 21, 2024 in response to the federal government's continued deduction of 50% from the internally generated revenue of key aviation agencies. The unions disclosed this in a letter dated August 14, 2024 titled Save Aviation from Collapse, adding that the affected agencies include the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, Nigerian Meteorological Agency, Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, and the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau. The unions warned that critical safety activities within these agencies are already being compromised due to the financial strain imposed by the deductions, and cautioned that they would not be held responsible if the aviation industry becomes dysfunctional due to these financial constraints. And in preparation for the protest, the unions have directed all state councils, women's commissions, youth councils, and branches of their unions nationwide to fully mobilize and ensure widespread participation. Concerned Medics Foundation, a group of Nigerian doctors in the diaspora, has signed a memorandum of understanding with the National Hospital for Women and Children in Abuja in order to curtail brain drain in the country. The agreement was signed by the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Professor Raji Mahmood, and the Chief Chairperson of CMF, Dr. Sadiya Gumi, in Abuja. A statement said the parties involved in the partnership desire to collaborate to address the issue of medical brain drain by facilitating the involvement of Nigerian doctors in the diaspora, who will participate in a 2-year rotation program at the National Hospital, Abuja, adding that CMF and the hospital acknowledge the potential to turn brain drain to brain gain involving Nigerian doctors in diaspora and to reduce the menace of Japa syndrome among medical doctors in the country. While 24 doctors from all over the world have signed up for the pilot scheme. Gumi said that some of the diasporan doctors were specialists in surgery, psychiatry, intensive care, anesthetics, pediatrics, and adult medicine and general practice. While the parties acknowledge the potential to turn brain drain to brain gain involving Nigerian doctors in diaspora, stressing that the parties desire to collaborate to address the issue of medical brain drain by facilitating the involvement of Nigerian doctors in the diaspora who will participate in a 2-year rotation program at National Hospital, Abuja. Securities and Exchange Commission has approved the extension of the rights issue of Access Holdings PLC to August 23rd. A statement from the financial institution indicated that its 351 billion naira rights issue, earlier scheduled for Wednesday, has been extended due to the effect of the hunger protests across the country. Access Holdings issued 17.772 billion ordinary shares at 19.75 kobo each, based on 1 new share for every 2 held as of June 7, 2024. The statement signed by the group's company secretary, Sunday Ekwochi, said the decision is in response to the recent nationwide protests that disrupted operations of businesses and individuals across Nigeria, and to provide shareholders with ample opportunity to subscribe to their rights, while the acting group chief executive officer of Access Holdings PLC, Bolaji Abede, said the offer of subscription would further expand the group's growth strategies and financial strength. She also said the commencement of the rights issue subscription is an important step in our growth strategy and capital raising plans, reinforcing the financial strength and accelerating our strategic ambitions, adding that the execution is more than a capital raise. It is a pivotal process that will propel us towards our goal of becoming one of the top 5 financial institutions in Africa by 2027. General Secretary of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, Comrade Joshua Apebo, has called on the federal government to reintroduce gratuity payments to public service employees in Treasury-funded ministries, departments, and agencies. He disclosed this at the 5th Quadrennial National Delegates Conference of ASCSN in Lagos, adding that since the colonial era, gratuity has always been paid to public service employees as appreciation for their service rendered to the nation, while the Pension Reform Act of 2004 has been silent on the issue of payment of gratuity to workers. Comrade Joshua said since the act came into force, public service employees in Treasury-funded MDAs and their counterparts in states have adopted the new pension scheme have not been paid any form of gratuity, whereas private sector workers and other non-treasury funded and revenue-generating MDAs have continued to receive gratuity from their employers despite the enactment of the 2004 Pension Reform Act, and therefore request that gratuity to public service employees in treasury-funded MDAs be restored without further delay. The association also elected Comrade Shehu Mohammed as a new national president, and he was elected unopposed to Tommy Okon. And in his acceptance speech, the newly elected president said the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria has faced ongoing challenges, and my primary goal is to enhance the welfare of our members by significantly improving their take-home pay, aiming to bring it closer to a living wage. In his goodwill message, the General Secretary of the Trade Union Congress, Nuru Toro, said the association has constantly demonstrated its commitment to social justice and the profession of civil servants, adding that the conference came at a critical time when the world of work continues to face unprecedented challenges, including the present economic downturn and the ongoing working conditions of civil servants, among other issues. You are watching ATM Business on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to ATM Business on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. South Korea is urging automakers operating in the country to disclose the manufacturer of batteries used in electric vehicles as authorities try to calm fears over fires involving EVs after a recent blaze in an underground parking lot that took 8 hours to put out. Experts say more can be done, however, noting that while identifying the specific maker of the batteries used in EVs would give consumers more choice, there is a lack of definite data on which brands are most prone to fires. A fire on August 1st, which appeared to start spontaneously in a Mercedes-Benz, took more than 8 hours to put out, destroying or damaging about 140 cars and forcing some residents in the apartments above to move to shelters. Officials said the fire was made worse because equipment such as sprinklers in the parking lot did not work properly. The blaze pushed the government to hold a series of meetings to draw up measures to prevent such incidents. In the United States, EVs caught fire at a rate of 25 per 100,000 units sold, compared with 1,530 for gasoline-powered vehicles and 3,475 for hybrids, according to a study conducted by insurance company Auto Insurance EZ, published in 2023 using data from the National Transportation Safety Board. South Korea has saw 72 fires involving EVs last year, up to 200% from 24 in 2021, according to the National Fire Agency. The number of fires per 10,000 EVs was 1.3 last year in South Korea, compared to 1.9 for international combustion engine-powered vehicles, according to the Science and Technology Policy Institute. Nearly 1 in 5 cars sold globally in 2023 was electric, according to the International Energy Agency, with nearly 14 million sold, mostly in China, Europe, and the United States. This took the total number of EVs on the road to 40 million. Auto experts says EV battery fires burn differently than fires in internal combustion energies, often lasting longer and being harder to extinguish as they have a tendency to reignite. EVs are propelled by lithium-ion batteries, which can store a massive amount of energy. If a battery is breached or has a design problem or internal short circuit, a fire can result from a chain reaction known as thermal runaway. The inflammable chemicals can release their own oxygen as they burn, allowing EV fires to reignite hours or even days after they appear to have been put out, says experts. Delta Airlines has declared its intention to install free and fast Wi-Fi on its nearly 700 fleets for the use of passengers, describing it as a dream come true for its customers to have access to the internet connection before the end of summer. A statement by the Senior Vice President of Customer Experience Design, Ranja Goswami, said the international Wi-Fi portal will not require a SkyMiles login to start, but later this year, all of the airlines Viasat Wi-Fi equipped aircraft will convert to the Delta Sync Wi-Fi experience, which connects to travelers' SkyMiles membership. The airline, which has reported a surge in travelers heading internationally this summer, first rolled out the Wi-Fi to flights between the United States and France in July, while flights between the US and the UK, Germany, the Netherlands, Spain and Italy will begin offering free Wi-Fi in September. Routes heading to Iceland, Ireland, Israel, Belgium, Czech Republic, Denmark, Greece, Portugal, Sweden and Switzerland will also offer free Wi-Fi. He also said destinations across South America and Hawaii are beginning to offer free Wi-Fi in October, followed by Nigeria, Ghana and Senegal in December to January 2025. Lastly, in mid-late 2025, routes to Asia, Australia and New Zealand along with South Africa will also enjoy free Wi-Fi and will continue to roll out fast for free Wi-Fi and the in-flight experiences it powers to serve customers traveling both domestically and internationally in in-the-moment ways. Joint reports by the International Labour Organization and the United Nations Office of the Secretary General's Envoy in Technology has warned that without international action, that the artificial revolution could widen the gap between high and low income countries. According to the reports, the artificial intelligence revolution will only widen the gap between high and low income countries unless cooperative international action is taken, adding that the AI divide was also exacerbating economic and social inequalities due to uneven rates of investment, adoption and use. It also said a emerging AI divide meant high-income nations disproportionately benefit from AI advancement, while low and medium-income countries, particularly in Africa, lag, and the workplace is where artificial intelligence can lead to productivity gains and improved working conditions. While unequal access to infrastructure, technology, quality education, and training could lead to uneven adoption of AI, which would in turn deepen inequalities globally. It highlighted that high-income countries were well positioned to leverage AI for productivity gains, while developing countries could face bottlenecks due to a lack of digital infrastructure, and disparity could turn a temporary buffer against AI-driven changes into a long-term barrier to economic prosperity. The report stressed that global partnerships and proactive strategies to support developing nations, including access to digital infrastructure, upskilling, and social dialogue, were necessary prerequisites to closing the technological gap and ensuring that the AI revolution did not leave significant portions of the world's population behind. Adding that without national tech industries, workers in developing nations who have the skills would offer their skills through freelance platforms, effectively building up companies in other countries and creating a virtual brain drain. This is where we wrap it up on this edition of ATM Business on Atlantic Television Network in the city of Port Harcourt. I am Wendy Aguma. We are open for advert placement, bookings and commercials. Stay connected on ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching and good afternoon.